Hey everybody! It's time for another one of my video blogs, and this week I figured I'd go over some, I don't know, positive, motivational speaking kind of a thing. It's a terrible intro. Anyway, this week we're going to talk about 5 things that I wish I knew about being transgender before I transitioned. Number 1. You are normal. This was probably my biggest hang-up when I was a teenager. I thought that I was a deviant, I thought I was a pervert, I thought I was some kind of freak or a monster. I felt dirty, I felt ashamed, I felt guilty, and I felt worried. As it turns out, there's nothing wrong with being trans. The problem was internalized guilt, shame, and transphobia. So what's transphobia? Well, it's a big word that means basically that you are afraid of trans people. And what is fear? Fear is basically the lack of understanding, and if you don't understand trans people, then you're going to have questions and worries and doubts. And when you internalize those feelings, those fears, you take them out on yourself, and it leads a lot of people down a dark path. A lot of people end up killing themselves, or getting into drugs and alcohol. They end up doing all sorts of dangerous, bad behaviors, things that you don't want to be doing. There is nothing wrong with you that hasn't been wrong with millions of people before you, and millions of people who are out there now. Everywhere in nature, you see evidence of homosexuality. You see evidence of transgenderism, or transgenderness, however you want to call it, this transgender experience. We see it in wildlife, we see it in nature, we see it all through the biological evolutionary path of humanity. We have scientific evidence that back up the existence of transgender people, that back up the fact that we are not messed up. There's nothing wrong with our brains. If there's anything wrong, it's just the fact that our outsides don't really match our insides. We are who we say we are. We know it. It's a fact. And for those who think it's just a phase, it's not a phase. It'll never go away. I was 35 when I finally admitted to myself that I am in fact a transgender woman. I thought that it would go away. I thought that I could kill it. I thought that I could stop it, and I couldn't. It turns out it was always there, and it was always going to be there. I had to do something about it. And it turns out trying to be straight, trying to be cisgender, acting like I was a man, that was the phase, not this. So you need to get over the idea that you're abnormal, because you're not. Going down that path is a trap. It's a lie. And speaking of lies, number 2, don't believe the lies. I believed many lies. I believed that I was wrong. I believed that there was something wrong with me. I believed that I shouldn't exist, that anomalies like me needed to be wiped out. And sure, a lot of people do feel that way about us, but we don't need to feel it about ourselves. Don't believe those lies. I believed that no one would ever love me. I believed that I was too ugly to be a woman. I thought maybe I was crazy. I thought maybe this was all in my head. And when I went to a therapist to ask her about it, she said, no, of course it's not. I believed that what I was doing was a sin. I believed all these things. Did you know that in the Bible it says we actually have no gender? There is no man or woman. There is no Gentile or Jew. All are equal in the eyes of God. In fact, even God doesn't really have a gender. Jesus never condemned homosexuality. He never condemned the transgender experience. He only preached love and acceptance. What this means is that you should exist. We both should exist. We do exist. Your life is valid. You have meaning. Many people have walked this path before us, and if they can make it, so can you. So can all of us. You are loved. You have value. And that brings me to the next thing that I would have told myself. 3. You are not worthless. You're not. I see in so many trans folks intelligence, grace, poise. I see independence, undying spirit. I see doctors, I see teachers, I see lawyers and architects, engineers, computer scientists, artists, dancers, activists and advocates, surgeon generals, elected officials, and I see some of the bravest, kindest people that I have ever known, the most heroic people who I've ever met. And I see all of this within you because each of these things I see in my friends. I see in transgender people all around me. These very same attributes. I've met so many transgender people in my life in just the past 2 years that I've been going through this. And they're amazing. All of them. In other words, your value as a human being is not incumbent on how others judge you or your lifestyle. You are who you are, regardless of what they think. You deserve happiness. You do. You have the capability to do anything that you put your mind to. And even if you don't really understand it or realize it right now, because you're going through some hard times or some troubles, you will. Eventually you will. You just have to stick with it. Just keep going. Number four. The number four thing that I wish I could have told myself about being transgender is that it's not always going to be easy, but it's a lot easier than you think. When I first started transitioning, I had no idea where to begin. For me, the two biggest obstacles were going to be the loss of hair and the facial hair that I had on my face. Because I waited so long to transition and to start on hormones, I lost most of the hair that you see up front here, and a spot in the back. But it turns out wigs exist, and they look great, and they're fun. Yeah. So yeah, shaving every day does suck, but there's laser, there's electrolysis. Even if you can't afford those things right now, makeup can go a heck of a long way. You can do some incredible tricks with makeup. But where things get really difficult is dealing with society. Dealing with bigotry and hatred, it can sap your energy and sap your strength. You can find yourself wanting to give up in no time at all. But the thing you need to realize is that you have a lot more strength inside you than you know. Every time you find yourself getting to the end of your rope, stop. Relax. Breathe. Regroup. Try again. Only you can determine how far you're going to go. But you have to keep going. The only way you're going to know how far you can go is if you go as far as you can. Number 5. You are not alone. So bragging time. I have been all over the state of Pennsylvania. I've been to conferences in Pittsburgh, conferences in Philadelphia, I've been to Pride Fest in Chester County, and I've been to several Pride Fests right here in Northeast Pennsylvania. And you know what all of those Pride Fests and all those conferences had in common? There were transgender people there. Lots of transgender people. In fact, if there are as many trans people living just in this area, just in Northeast Pennsylvania, as I've met over the last 2 years, I can't even begin to imagine how many there are out in the actual world. It's a mind-boggling number. You're not alone, because there are so many of us out there. We've done polls, we've done studies, there's been endless research done. We've got kind of an idea that it should be like 0.3 of the population, but we've actually found out that it's bigger than that, and the truth is we don't really know. We really don't know how many there are. There's no way to know exactly. The thing about the trans experience is that it's so diverse and so ubiquitous that you might not notice people are trans unless they identify. There are so many different ways to express gender and express gender identity. If you ever get a chance, go to the Philadelphia Trans Conference, okay? You're going to meet thousands. You're going to be amazed. You're going to wonder, how did I ever think that I was alone in this world? How did I ever think that I was the only one like me? Okay, so maybe you live in a small town, or you can't travel, or you're just young and you don't have a lot of life experience, so you don't really know a lot of people like you out there. Hey, that's okay. You know, I was there. I thought I was alone. Thought I was the only one. There was a time in my life I only knew 2 or 3 people who were trans. Now I know dozens. I know hundreds. Personally. It's incredible. So don't feel alone. Don't feel like you don't know anyone. 'Cause you know me. I'm trans, and I'm here on YouTube, and I'm talking to you right now. Yeah, you. And you know people like Jazz Jennings, and Laverne Cox, and Chaz Bono, Sarah McBride, Janet Mock, you know, of Olympians and world-class athletes. They are just like you. Just like you. They know exactly what you're going through. They know exactly what you've been through. Like, okay, maybe they don't have the exact same experiences, but at least when it comes to being transgender, They know. Plus, you've got terrific resources that I didn't have when I was younger. We didn't really have Tumblr, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Snapchat. We had MySpace, but that was kind of a different thing. Oh, I miss the days of MySpace. Not really. No. I don't miss the days of MySpace, to be honest with you. The point is, you have so many ways to connect with other people and communicate with them and get to know them and learn more about them. And as you learn more about them, you learn more about yourself. If you're watching this video, you've got YouTube, and you can do a search, and you can probably find a lot of other of us who are on here. Transgender people who are just like me, doing the same thing, and maybe someday you would want to do something like this. Maybe someday you can help other people too. The bottom line is you're not alone. Not even a little. So I hope this video helps you. Even a little. I hope somebody out there is watching this and is feeling like they aren't alone. Like they can do it. They can go on with another day. And those are the 5 things that I wish someone had told me about being trans. Would have helped a lot. I would have probably transitioned a lot sooner. Probably would have saved myself a lot of trouble and a lot of hassle. At the same time, I have to admit that I really wouldn't have the same life that I do now, and that I probably wouldn't know the number of people that I do now. I probably wouldn't have had the same experiences. Whether that's good or bad, we'll never know, but the point is, I just wish somebody would have pulled me aside years ago and said, "You're normal. Don't believe what they're saying about you." And I wish I would have known that there was a lot more of us out there. Until next time, everyone, love each other, okay? Do me a favor, love each other. Love everyone. Bye-bye.